Let's go live. See my live on YouTube. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeffrey Darty, your Christian whistleblower, the happy contrarian. I'm here in the lobby of the JW Marriott in Palm Springs. Actually, it's in Palm Desert. So sorry about the lighting. Sorry about the boat sounds and the bird sounds, but we wanted to make sure that we did bring you an edition of Podcast Excellence, even though I'm on the road here at Contact in the Desert. Wayne's always is home and snug and comfortable as always, though.
Yep, absolutely. Yesterday was yard work.
Oh, well, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Got to do it. Actually, it was a beautiful day. So are you having fun out there?
I'm having an experience. It is enjoyable. I'm, hanging out with Jay. We're hoping Robert Stanley will come out today. We've been able to shake a few hands and meet a few people. So it's been very, very nice. But you had a kind of a sort of come to Jesus moment yesterday on TV, huh?
Well, actually, yeah, it was someone actually sent me the YouTube video on, I think it was Thursday. Yeah. And when I watched it, it was very revealing, talking about Kenneth Copeland. And, we were talking right before we went live that, I followed that guy for decades. The whole word of faith, God wants you rich. And, that's seriously, I was indoctrinated. It. You can say that, I don't know, it would almost define as a cult in, its fanaticism.
Because, I think it would. I think it's not inaccurate.
Yeah. And because everybody, God wants to make you rich. I mean, that's the whole reason for going into business with God. And of course, Jesus just happened to be the middleman. He's the banker, God is the finance.
What percentage of people actually can make that work when they give themselves fully to it?
Pardon?
What percentage of people can normally make that work if they really give themselves to it, that whole name it and claim it prosperity doctrine?
Oh, it's an ancient magic. Listen, it can work for anybody. I mean,
absolutely.
Tony Robbins, hell, you go back to the Rockefellers. They use the same principle. So yeah, it's the problem is, though, when you get into a cult type movement where you're using God, that is, well, what is God? But in this
it's really
case,
not much different from invoking a spirit, is it?
No, in fact, that's exactly what we do. We invoke the Holy Spirit,
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. In fact, as I'm sitting here, I went through a whole camp meeting, Jeff, with how on Hebrews 2, where are not all ministering spirits sent to minister to the needs of the chosen, the redeemed. And so you invoke angels, you invoke spirits. Yeah, it's wild.
So they have you doing Enochian magic in church.
Bingo. Boy, well stated, my friend. Bingo.
Yeah. Enochian magic in church. Now, I did a little show yesterday, Wayne, something that's been on my mind. It continues to be on my mind. We hear a lot of worries about, the whole thing now is worrying about those that are Jews, but say that those that are Jews. What did Paul warn against? Beware of those that say that they are Jews but are not.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Never quite figured that one out.
I just got completely distracted.
Well, no, I listen. I wrote this to someone last week. Go ahead.
Here's the point. You're worrying about people that say they're Jews but they're not. But really, the danger that we are facing today is from people that are Jews and they say that they're not Jews. People that really are Jews and are trying to say, no, we're not. Yeah. Within Christianity.
Yeah. It's still one of the things, the conundrums that they never will address is that, well, is God a Christian?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess if he is, I guess that there was a conversion there at some point, and makes the whole conversation about Judaism and its influence almost mute,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Wayne, what would you say is the defining characteristic of Judaism historically, long term, beginning to end? What's the central thing of Judaism?
For me, the thing that I have always found interesting about Judaism is that wherever the Jews went, they took over the commerce.
Right.
For every persecution, the Spanish Inquisition against the Jews. You can go to France. I mean, you go wherever they have gone. It's a very short period of time, and they actually control the banking, the commerce, and they will tell you, the Hasidic Jews will tell you, it's because of their gods blessing them in this darkened world. In other words,
I'm sure that is what they'd say. The thing I'm thinking about is historically, religiously, the heart of Judaism is the temple, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And what's the heart of the temple? Blood sacrifice. So
Lots
if
of
you're
it.
practicing a religion that includes a sacrifice for you, or a blood sacrifice, or any type of sacrifice, you're a religion that is Jewish at its core, because it goes back to the same core of Judaism: blood sacrifice on an altar.
I don't know if it was you and I, but a couple of weeks ago, yeah, we were talking about, when Solomon dedicated the temple, they slaughtered bulls, goats. It went on for, what was it, 8 days.
8 days.
And accordingly, I think it's in, what is it, Second Chronicles, or is it Samuel, that it talks about that the fact that the blood flowed out of the temple and out into the streets.
What a perfect analogy of what's going on in there. It's a place of death with blood flowing out of it.
And
I don't get it. And yet we have so many people, Wayne, supposedly in the truther movement, in the awaken movement, in this movement, trying to get people to think that they can have a little bit of blood in their life and not be affected. If you've got the blood, you've got the blood. You have to decide if you want to be part of a blood sacrifice religion or not. And I contend that if you're part of a blood sacrifice religion, you have given up your opportunity to ascend in this cycle. You've given up your opportunity to immortality, and as long as you're under that curse.
Boy, spot on that, buddy. Jeff, the thing that they won't answer the question is why the need for a blood sacrifice, and they'll say it's because man has fallen. They won't answer me the question, then what genus of homo are we talking about? I mean,
and if Jesus wasn't that genus, how could he have died for the sins of all the other genuses?
it's very true. I mean, so did Jesus just come to die for the sapiens? Or did he come and die for the Neanderthals? Did he come and die for the Cro-Magnus?
We just opened a whole new industry. We could be in search of Neanderthal Jesus.
Holy crap.
In search of Cro-Magnon Jesus.
No one has ever done that.
No, they all had to have a savior, right?
Well, I mean, if you buy it in one version, you're going to have to buy it for all the versions. Then that brings up, why does this God continually to allow this to happen then? I mean, what, are we just in a long list of going back and saying, those damn fools, they didn't figure it out?
And Wayne, the more I read in Genesis, the more I'm convinced that Genesis, that garden, that enclosure is the word, was just one of many work camps that I guess it would have probably been Enlil went around and talked to people in.
Yeah.
The book of Genesis was just one of Adam and Eve was just one work camp.
It's interesting when you think of the whole concept of Adam and Eve. What is it representing? I don't know. I mean, there was a beginning somewhere, I guess. I guess there had to be patient zero, right?
There had to be.
and
There
then,
had to be.
and then it leads you back to this whole thing, was it the chicken and the egg? I mean, what came first, the man, the woman? Did they do symbiosis? What happened here? What was it?
Yeah.
Was it the worm theory? And the worm just got tired and said, screw this, and I don't know.
Yeah. We know you asked me initially, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, because I'm in a bad mood right now regarding it. You ask about how is this event?
Yeah.
Well, we came just for the weekend, and it cost us $500 for the weekend, which isn't a small price. That's just for the tickets to the event. And then we were waiting because we were with someone that wanted to see Linda Moulton House. So we're waiting in this line for like 20 minutes. We get up to the door and find out, oh, this is a special one. You'd have to pay $30 more per person. So it has become Pentecostal charismania circa late 80s. And our movement is in great peril, I think.
Wow. How disappointing is that? I mean, if that's
very much so.
If that's the retirement plan, well, make full disclosure about it. All right. I mean, I don't
agree.
I don't have a problem if you just that's cheesy, man. Come on. I mean, that's just that's like being in a Kenneth Copeland meeting, taking the offering. You think you're buying one thing, and then the next thing you know, man, you're getting your wallet out about 5-6 times. Yeah.
Offering A, you mean?
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. What was that first one for? I done forgot. So it's the almighty dollar, isn't it? Jeff, have you frozen up on us? I can't hear him, but I think he'll come back.
Yeah, and it's gotten so bad now. Yeah. And I'm stuck on my.
There you are.
We're back. What do you know?
Yep, there you are.
But I was just lamenting the fact that, I understand marketing, but it's even gone Vegas. You can't get to any of the meeting rooms without jamming through all of the vendor spaces. It's impossible.
Oh, man.
So it's very sad to see what the true motivation of this meeting is. And Wayne, it is packed. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Wow. Well, I don't know. Here's my take on it. Number one, there's a hunger. People really want to know what's going on, and they're flocking to anyone that can give them hope in telling them what is going on.
That's a good point.
That's what the Jesuits did for thousands of years. They led everyone to believe that they were the only ones that had the answer as to what was going on. And oh, by the way, that will cost you 10%.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man.
So let me ask you something. Do you think a preacher should be able to buy a $54 million jet off the offerings of their congregation?
Well, Wayne,
I'm just asking.
Who are we to question God's servant? Who are we to question the voice of the Holy Spirit?
I forgot. I forgot. That was absolute. And listen, they do say that they are prophets.
Yep.
They just.
So, Wayne, what kind of a person? Could you imagine? I was a pastor for 20 years, but there's no way I could imagine buying a jet with money they gave me.
Yeah.
The ego, the avarice of that is like, how do you explain that to people that don't even have a car to get to work? And you're buying a private jet, because God delivered you from flying first class.
Well, more importantly than that, he he delivered you from flying in that tube with all those demons. And not one jet, not two jets, but 3 jets. And then you got these guys, this one pastor down in, I think it was Alabama, that bought his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini. Of course, every pastor's wife needs a $200,000 Lamborghini. I mean, I'm sure Alabama is just perfectly designed for that.
I thought, when we were in the ministry, you kind of, if you were a preacher, you kind of wanted to downplay things. You didn't want to drive around a big Cadillac because you didn't want people to think you were stealing from them.
Yeah.
They don't care these days.
No. And, you've coined it so properly, the plastic Jesus. The Jesus that's being preached today never existed. If the Christ consciousness was here, that ain't it. And I think that there is going to be a lot of disappointed people when they pass through to the other side.
Oh, I think there are too. And it's funny when you just said to me, plastic Jesus, I never thought about plastic Jesus as a credit card. That's really what it is. That's what I need, credit cards with plastic Jesus on them.
Oh, that's what I thought about it all the whole time. It was that.
No, I never thought of it that way. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's how I saw it. The plastic Jesus is exactly what it is for us today. It is the symbol. Well, hell, I mean, I'm studying right now sigil magic. This deity goes back, way back. I mean, this is the deity. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think it. Baal, Moloch. I don't know. You could even say Dionysus.
Maybe. Yeah, somebody just had a great question. Did Copeland name his 3 jets Father, Son, and Holy Ghost?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, come on. I helped contribute to that first Citation 10 that he bought. That was a $26 million. And that was the biggest Ponzi scheme I've ever seen in my life. And I was telling Lynn, I guess I gave them almost $25,000, and all I got was a piece of paper. It says I was a part of the Citation 10 ministry team on my founder's gift. I never got to fly in it.
What made you think it was a good idea to give him $25,000 so he could have a jet?
Well, you have to understand the indoctrination, how the spell works, is that you're under this spell that says, and this is how it works, that if I give God $1, God is going to give me back $10. Because that's how it's promised, in the book of Malachi, that, and because I am the seed of Abraham, therefore I'm under the blessing of Abraham. And I go back to Genesis 12, where it says, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. So I am of the blessing. And so since I am of the same as Isaac, who Isaac received.
So you're saying you're Jew.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Had the balls to actually go out and do that.
Me too.
When I tried to convert to Judaism, back in the early 90s, Rabbi Fuchs, he said, do the Jewish people a favor. Don't. Just don't. He says, we see those 12 apostles that you see them as, enlighteners of wisdom. He said, we saw them as traitors.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
At least he was straight up with you.
Well, he was. He explained it. He said, he was the one who gave me probably the best insight on Christianity. He said, your religion has no God. He said, he says, the thing about all other religions is that they can trace where their God originated with that religion. The Hindus, Islam, Judaism. I mean, I can just go on down the list. But not Christianity. No. And that's because they tried 3 other gods before that failed. They tried Dionysus. That didn't work. They tried Bacchus. That didn't work. They tried even the bull. That didn't work. And out of the last thing, when they realized that the Flavians, who had decimated the Jewish power structure, the families, and the families were involved with it. The Herodians, they were involved in this. The Alexandrians, they were involved in this. And it was one of the most brilliant pieces of magic that I think humanity's ever seen.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they were able to do.
And you teach on this all the time, is the fact that, so let me just finish what Rabbi Fuchs said. He said, and that's the odd thing about Christianity. He says, you have no God. He says, you stole ours. And you found out that he isn't as agreeable, and actually he used the word admirable, to your concept.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And that made you decide not to do it?
Well, I think that planted the seed then. There was no way. And then I got this. So we were at a Seder, and I had some gefilte fish, and I almost died. I mean, I got a bad reaction, and I think that was that God telling me, get the hell away from my people.
Yeah, we don't want you.
We don't want you, because I had to go and do an interview in Nashville, and I'm getting on the plane thinking, man, I don't know if I can make this. Yeah. So never happened.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's a shame. So let me ask you, is there anything that's coming out of it? I hear that the discussion of Antarctica is a big deal. Are you seeing that out there?
Well, that was the extra $30 one that I did elected not to pay on top of the $500 that I already paid. And yes, Tamara, I think you're right.
What was that?
Oh, she said something about blood sacrifice.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm studying sigil magic. Goes back, way back, way back. And I'm getting now what this magician known as Moses or Moshe or Tutmos, I get it now what they were doing, Jeff. What they were doing with the symbols, how they were taking the alphabet and beginning to arrange them in a specific phrase that went with a symbol that they would then charge. And we know what happened. I mean, the whole, I guess a lot of people don't realize it, the whole Holy of Holies, the whole temple itself actually came through, I understand, another dimension and was pulled down into ours. But the whole temple structure itself, if you look at it, it was a huge energy charging. When the Ark of the Covenant, whatever it was that was in there, that temple was designed for, well, if you go and read how when Solomon was building the Holy of Holies and had the cherub, the covering, and how big the room was, and that room was covered with nothing but gold. And where the openings came into to let the light in was at a certain degree. And they say that when the sun came into that point, that the brilliance of the reflection of the gold and what happened in there, they said no human could stand near it. That's why the high priest had the chain in case he screwed up.
Yeah.
But Jeff, you ought to teach on that. I mean, to me, if you go back and read in Chronicles how much gold was used and what the design was, I can't help but not think that that was just one freaking huge superconductor. Pardon?
That's a lot of gold.
It's a lot of gold, and the way that they did this, the way they designed it, the way that, I mean, think about it today. If you could afford it and you built yourself a room made of solid gold, completely seamless, to where you allowed the sun to come in at a certain point, at a certain time of the year, and it hit that room I wonder what type of kinetic energy you would produce.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. And I'm wondering just what does the cross say as a sigil?
Oh, it's very interesting. So
I guess we can't really know unless we know the intention of the person that created it.
yeah, I mean, I've got this book here, and wow, all I know is that this is some powerful stuff, and I never realized it, Jeff. We were around it all the time. All the time.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
all over here. It's all over this place right now.
I bet it is. I bet it is. And when
Yeah, everybody's got a logo. Everybody's got a symbol.
simple, you see?
So I wonder how many of them have actually put hidden messages into the logos. That would be interesting.
How many have charged it? That's the question I
How
have.
many? Who knows what they're doing?
And when you get into the sexual magic and charging sigils, now I'm getting where, Crowley, where he got the insight, you go back to Agrippa. I'm beginning to see what's going on here.
People have no idea.
They have no idea. And now when I'm seeing people out in public, I had to go out early this morning, and I see people, because it's Sunday in the stores, all wearing the cross.
Yes.
And I'm going, oh shit, Wayne. And I had to stop because I'm looking, because I was up late last night. I text you about 11:30,
Yep.
and because I'm reading this and I'm mesmerized by this. And this morning I look at this and I'm walking around and I see over a dozen women wearing this sigil. And
it is a sigil.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what it might mean?
Well, I got a feeling it's not in our better. They're not looking after for our better half. That think about it.
I would agree with that.
We only get half, no matter how you look at this. Think about the plastic Jesus. If Jesus was here, he was a hybrid, no matter how you looked at it.
No matter how you look at it.
About that.
No matter how you look at it.
So sigils all around you, huh?
All around. I'm gonna start noticing them.
Yeah.
I should take video of them.
You really should. I mean, Now, how long does the?
Maybe I'll walk down the people that are selling stuff aisles and have their just videotape all of their signage and see if anybody knows what they're doing.
Oh, I'd love to see that, buddy. That would be.
That'd be interesting.
How many vendors do they have there? Couple hundred?
Probably 200-300 vendors.
Wow, that's a good turnout.
It is.
That's a good.
I'll bet there's at least 5,000 people. I bet they sold at least 5,000 tickets to this.
At $250 a pop.
Well, that's the lowest price. That's just to get in on the weekend for 2 days. It's $500. But if you wanted the full everything, have lunch with George Norrie and Graham Hancock, and go to the $30 Linda Moulton House speech. It would be just shy of $2,300.
Holy crap!
$2,388, I believe it is, for the full special.
Man, I know who E.T. is now.
Who is E.T.?
E.T., well, it ain't the extraterrestrial, man. It's the extra tax.
It is the extra tax.
Oh, Jeff, what a bummer. I mean,
it is a bummer.
I had no idea. I mean, they've turned this.
Here's the other idea, other end of the spectrum. A very nice lady in the chat says, if you're really offering truth, then it would be free.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But so you don't think that people like you and me should make any profit from what we do?
I mean, listen, the few shekels that we make off the advertising, folks, it's ridiculous. If this is an endeavor of love, dedication. listen,
Here's
and
the good point. That's not a fair energy exchange. $2,400. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not a
yeah,
fair energy exchange.
yeah. I mean, it's sad. They've turned it into an industry, and now
Oh, absolutely.
so it makes me suspect of, well, your latest breakthrough. Well, what's it mean to you personally? How many thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars is this going to bring you? And is that your motivation? And if your motivation is based upon profit, then that tells me then you're holding back information.
Oh, good point.
Well, you're no different
Yeah,
than yeah.
I just don't understand it. I mean, I feel very, very disappointed that we're at this place.
Well, Mrs. Space Keck, she says, you're entitled to make money. Listen, I'm not saying that.
I
But
agree too.
what I am saying is the motivation behind it. I mean,
And a fair profit, an exchange of abundance, not taking advantage of people.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the time that we live in. You see, the problem is there are a lot of people who could never afford 2,300, much less 500. But aren't they just entitled to be able to know the truth as well? I mean, that then begins to say that, well, it becomes restrictive as to who is entitled to the truth.
That's a good point.
I mean, I'm just
That's a good point.
trying to cover all sides of the conversation. Yeah, I know people
Yeah.
have to make a living. That's why you write books. That's why I buy books.
Right.
I mean, so.
But overall, it's very disappointing.
Yeah, that sucks. Oh, well, there's still hope for us, Jeff. There's still hope.
There's still hope.
How's Jay Campbell? He's out there with you, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen him today, but we were hanging out yesterday. He's at the pool, I think. He's doing real well.
Excellent, excellent. Now, is Rex out there?
It's funny you mentioned that. I ran into Rex yesterday, so he is here.
Yes. How's he doing now? Is he
This is now the 5th time I've seen Rex, and he's always the same, just like you see him on the camera.
Excellent, 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 excellent. Well, at least you're there with good company.
No, it's a great time. I mean, it's a beautiful hotel, and the weather here is perfect, so it's a real nice getaway. If not, and it was very instructive. I learned a lot.
Cool. I mean, that's what I'm trying to find out. I mean, so we know something apparently is going on with Antarctica, or so that is what's being rumored. I was curious in what you could have given it. Anything else? Disclosure. Is there any word that the recent Pentagon admissions that UFOs are real, that
who was talking about that? Nick Pope was talking about that yesterday. We went to a Nick Pope seminar, and he talked about that. And he talked about the fact that governments are, officially recognizing it now. So instead of saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have about a dozen questions to ask Nick on that, because I think he's a good investigative reporter. He is out there. Yep.
And I listened to Michael Tellinger yesterday. That was good.
Anything particularly strike you as a takeaway?
He now theorizes that almost all of the ancient buildings that we see around, not the super megaliths, but most of the smaller ones, were all built by body parts of ancient beings. So like giants and stuff too. And he says he has.
That one just blew.
And I think we just.
Yeah, you just did. You stopped right in the middle, right when you were going to say, and he thought. So body parts.
That these ancient burial sites, memorial ones in South Africa. These are South Africa. I'm sorry, he's from South Africa. Okay. So that was pretty fascinating. So he's speculating that there were giants, huge, tall humans and all that stuff.
Oh wow! As you were saying that, so I'm seeing Guardians of the Galaxy when they came into the one scene, and they were actually entering into the brain of an ancient alien being that was as big as, a world, an Earthside planet. How fascinating. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
That is so cool.
And then tonight we're going to watch Eric Fontana again.
Oh, really? That ought to be fun.
Absolutely.
So, okay, another question, because you're our man and you're the eyes and everything else. Gary Baxter says, nice hotel, shitty Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
well, it's probably got about 1,000 people feeding off of it.
I guess I should have bought the upgraded Wi-Fi they offered me at check-in.
Yes. It's all the little tricks they get you. It's just like flying in the airplane. So another question. Any talk on the solar flash? Have you heard anything?
No, not at all. That was RexCon a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. All right. So nothing about that out there.
Nothing along that lines here. Nothing along those lines here.
Okay. I think this is cool.
See, this is mainly UFO, ET, alien stuff here.
All right. Well, I had another question on those, because another question is, are people theorizing that this is truly more multidimensional than actual beings that are living in another planet, in another solar system?
Yeah, absolutely. I know John D'Souza last week said that was his conclusion. And then yesterday, Nick Pope said that's his conclusion as well.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So, yeah, we're shifting away from that interstellar model now.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So now looking more interdimensionally in travel.
Yeah. Amazing. So
I'm curious, how is the consciousness side of the UFO community? I mean, is there a spiritual component to this thing now, or are they just simply saying it's intellectualism and, the consciousness that is driving that intellectualism?
They're not saying much about consciousness, but the thing that, and you can't say this without sounding like a snob, but just sitting around, I don't sense a lot of high consciousness around me. I sense a lot of youth, a lot of excitement, and an awful lot of vulnerability.
Wow, what a tremendous! That's profound, Jeff. So, would you say
that's what I feel?
The age demographic out there? Would you say is it skewed more to the millennials, or is it, boomers, or?
Yeah, it's definitely to the young family with 2 disposable incomes, way above the margin. So yeah, they're definitely aiming for certain.
Wow.
Yeah, I got stuck there for a second. Yeah, they're definitely aiming for a demographic.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, that's all right. Listen, I hope disclosure comes through. I really do. I hope that this is leading to something.
I do too.
Otherwise, then you have to throw the whole alien ET thing out, and then this gets real gritty. Then this is a spiritual. Wow. I mean, a spiritual reality that we don't want to accept.
I agree with you 100%.
ET,
I agree with you 100%.
I'm sitting here, Jeff, just getting wave after wave on this. ET is a very convenient escape. Because it is. We don't want to think that we are really immersed into a spirit realm that is beyond our comprehension.
And it's right there. It's not 1,000 light years away.
No. It's right here. Oh, crap, Jeff. Powerful. That is worthy of a show. I mean, I had never looked at it, that the whole ET phenomenon really is a deterrent away from what I would call ancient science. Some would
Oh,
call
that's
that.
a great point. It is. It's a huge distraction.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't have to deal with it. In fact, if
Yep.
you do, you get, well, let's just be honest. You're slighted. You know, you're ridiculed. You're somehow,
Yeah.
oh, they're talking about that. Yeah. It's like, oh, wait a minute, man. I swear I took a shower this morning. I don't stink.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense sometimes, but that's where we are.
Oh, I tell you, you need to bring back, who is it? Cousin, I haven't seen him in a while. Our friend with the cigar. You.
Oh, Brother Jeff, yeah.
Brother Jeff. I mean,
He's walking from Florida to Kansas barefoot.
oh my goodness. Speaking of which, a little more lighthearted, because I tell you what, Jeff, seriously, that is got some serious implications behind it.
What does?
The whole distraction of an ET alien type consciousness approach, as opposed to what it seems like we've been immersed in for a very long time, into this spiritual reality that we're just literally less than a hair's breadth away from. We just can't see it.
Yeah, we can't seem to get past our own mistakes to get there.
No, and so I want to tell you what happened on Friday. Freaked my dog out. We're in the kitchen, and I've never seen one of these before. I've seen people who've taken pictures. I kind of was a doubter. I mean, it was like, yeah, I can accept it. I just never seen it. In my kitchen, I see behind me, and Dancer was the one that noticed it, and I turned around, and there was this orb, I mean, about that big, and literally floated. Floated wasn't the right word. It seemed like it was, anyway, never seen that before. And it went into the dining room and just dissolved. Gone.
Amazing stuff. We were I'll mention, this reminds me, when we were driving from the Ontario airport out here to Palm Desert, Cynthia's sitting in the car next to me and starts screaming and yelling for like 45 seconds. And what she saw, and I couldn't see it because I'm driving on the I-10 in rush hour. And
that's a lot of fun.
It doesn't take any explanation. She saw a jet landing at the airport that stopped moving for 45 seconds mid-flight.
Oh,
a glitch in the
wow.
matrix.
Cynthia, I want to get you on my show. Forget the guy here that you're. That.
Have you ever seen something like that, Wayne? Any of those glitches?
I have not seen it myself, but I have seen a number of videos that actually caught that. Same thing, of a plane coming in and it don't move. Is that what she saw? It literally just didn't move?
Exactly. It was coming in just like you described to land, and then it just stopped moving for at least 30 seconds.
What the freak is going on? I mean, all right, so give me a second here, Jeff. So I have...
We're seeing right down your underarm, Wayne.
Hey, well, I'll tell you, it's groovy, isn't it? So
Cynthia corrects me. She said it was on takeoff, not landing.
Okay. All right. That is, I dig that. So I had a guy write me, and I'm not going to give his name, but he works for the Transit Authority in D.C.
Okay.
And they were, I got this on Thursday, so this must have been Tuesday night. Maybe it was Wednesday night. They were outside waiting for a shaft to come down. I don't know this. He uses a lot of jargon in here in this thing. Anyway, they saw a light go across the DC sky. They thought at first it may have been lightning. Never heard any thunder. He said it was too close for the sound of thunder not to be heard. None. There was no vibration of rumble of thunder. Then they went on to work. He says once in the track, while we were working, we heard the noise of a train approaching on track. This has never, in caps, happened since I have been working here. Evidently, the train passed on the opposite track, but this was still considered a close call due to the piston effect that creates in tunnels by trains. Then it gets even stranger. He said, today I received a package in the mail from a retailer with the purchase date that was dated for May 25th. A few days ago, I received the same item in the mail with the purchase date of, this is ahead of time in future, May 29th. Yeah. Now, how does that happen?
Yeah, there's lapses, there's glitches.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all I can think of.
Well, I have to say, seeing that orb was that was very interesting. I never seen anything like that. So, and then Cynthia seen, either the Matrix is tearing down, or we are literally, as one person wrote me, it's almost as though the old Matrix is beginning to dissolve, and we're going to be emerging into a new one.
Yeah, that's what you would think. Or are we getting more awake so we're able to see more of these things and looking in these other dimensions?
I like that. I like that. You got company?
I do. You were asking about him. Here he is.
Wayne!
Hey, there he is. How are you, Jay?
Somebody else too wants to make a cameo. Come on. Come on. I'm just stealing your show. It's all family. No, you can get it.
Hello. Hello. Y'all having a good time? Hello. Good to see you.
Having an amazing time. I don't want to steal your guys' show, so I'm going to let Jeff come back. But how are you, brother?
Doing good. Doing good, buddy. You're looking good there, buddy.
Hey, thanks, man. I just came back from the gym. Hold on, you get in. So real quick, and obviously Jeff and I are going to make a big deal of it probably over the next month. Man, I can't. Unfortunately, this whole thing is a bunch of like real newbies, quote unquote, who are waking up, so to speak, and they're just being led down a path of commercialism, Wayne. That's all it is, man. It's terrible. I mean, so bad. There's so many people here that are like looking for things that they're not going to find. They're kind of like almost bottomed out in their life, and they're maybe coming here to find what they think they're lacking or looking for meaning, and it's bad news, man. It's bad news. I mean, even, we talked to Rex and Ransom and a lot of those guys, and they all have the same feedback. It's really a shame because it really feels like this whole place has been hijacked, brother.
You know what? Here's a thing I'd like to look into. Who's financing this?
Oh, I could tell you, but I don't. It's probably for something on air right now.
Well, we want you to come back safe.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, exactly. That's a good point. That's actually a really good point because they're always listening. Well, I'll let Jeff back on, but it was good seeing you, brother.
Buddy. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. You guys have a good show.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, and Jay hits it on the nail. It's not so much our irritation at it. It's the people that came here looking for something. Some of them probably spending some of their last nickels to get here.
Oh, literally.
Yeah.
And pay $30 extra to see certain shows. But anyway, yeah, it's the people in the end that pay the price and get hurt.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for y'all when you can get into a more safe, secure location, really as to who's financing this. I mean, that tells you a lot.
Well, who's financing it is exactly who you would think is financing it, and they've gone out of their way to tell you who they are on at least 2 occasions. Literally, Wayne.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, now you got me intrigued.
Well, the word that starts with J, second word's an E, it ends in S, and the word isn't Jesus.
Those rat bastards again?
Yes. You asked that question. I'm just giving you the answer.
Yeah. Well, now I get it. Those are cockroaches.
Yeah, there's little cucaracha.
And you know, those little bastards, they always survive. I mean, you know, the
Yep.
rest of them go and die, but not the cockroaches.
No cucarachas at the JW Marriott, though. I'll say that on the record. Nice place.
At least none of the variety that we know of.
No, there are birds flying around in the lobby, though, which is interesting.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well,
Is
they
it
have
hot?
the boats that take you to your room, so you can ride a
Oh,
boat.
really? Oh, no. How
Yeah, it's
cool
pretty
is
cool.
that? Well, you have to do a video, brother, and post it so some of us can see what the.
Oh, I should do that. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be cool. I'd like to see that. You know, that
it's
way
very nice.
we can live vicariously through your experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that won't be very interesting for either one of us, probably.
Well, you never know. It could be good for meditation.
You never know.
And
Why don't
as-
we wrap it up right here, Wayne?
Yeah, let's
That's a
do
good
that.
stopping
All right,
spot
buddy.
as well.
Safe travel back home. Give my best to everyone out there.
And here, just for the curious on the way out, for some reason, Conscious Canadian just said, you lost a subscriber here.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean,
Oh, that's right. Oh, Jay's telling me we know who that is.
oh. Okay. Well, I just go by the whole mantra, peace, baby. Make love.
Peace,
not
baby.
war.
That's it, man.
That's it.
All right. So
All
nice
right.
to see you, Wayne. Everybody in the chat room, we appreciate you so much. We'll talk to you real soon.
All right. Have safe travels.